The first people that will be coming up are going to be representing Digitas and Rackspace. As I mentioned, Digitas is doing some really cool things in digital. They're one of the top agencies around. They are using Rackspace Managed Cloud to run a number of companies, major brands like Dunkin' Donuts and Taco Bell and Goodyear and Sprint and Miller Lite, just to name a few. So let's take a quick look at a video that will give you a little bit more info on Digitas LBI.
Digitas LBI is a global digital marketing agency, so we're helping clients on a couple of different areas. Creative, everything from brand strategy onto the creative and the experience design, as well as media, so planning and buying, data analytics and strategy, that's where our digital strategists and data scientists are, and then the technology, and all the ways that we activate clients' work digitally. So we're working with a lot of major global clients across a number of industries, financial services and automotive, so that can include General Motors and American Express, Taco Bell, Dunkin' Donuts, eBay, Delta, and Whirlpool. In a lot of cases, we are doing work that's never been done before. We're not just doing straight websites. Working with and retaining our clients, a lot of times we're briefed on a business problem. We're giving an input document that's what they're looking to do, what their goals are. And it's up to us to come up with what the idea is, what's the insight, where can we take it with that, and how can we solve that problem. So we have a lot of options beyond just sites and apps to look at retail experiences, to look at interactive experiences, digital out of home. We have a lot of clients that want to be first. They want to be first in an area. They want to be first in an area, whether it's social, whether it's mobile, what they want to do. So yeah, that's a lot of pressure on us to always be looking at what's next, to be looking towards the future. And that's why we make a big investment in innovation as an agency. A lot of the challenges that we face are around being able to get something in market quickly and being able to get scalable solutions up that can meet high demand. So we get requests for campaigns and products that are going to be going live, but sometimes with very short notice, as well as being able to keep long-term sites up and running. Hosting is super critical for us. Our volume and our peaks and valleys that goes up and down, and our need for infrastructure. So it's great to have a partner that we can go to where we can spin it up. We know it's going to be scalable. We know it's rock solid. We know it's going to be highly available. And then when we're done with it, we can manage client budgets and manage costs.
So would you please help me welcome Tony Bailey from Digitas LBI and Kyle Metcalf from Rackspace. Well, let these guys take it away.
Thank you. So my name's Kyle Metcalf, and I have the pleasure of leading the digital practice within Rackspace. And what I want you guys to think about is, imagine the last time you were involved in a major product launch or a major rebrand or a new brand or launching a new company. The ups and downs, the stress, the fun, the uncertainty, and everything that goes along with that. That stuff's tough. And that stuff is life. It's every day for folks like Tony and Digitas LBI. Behind every major brand out there, behind every major product that's launched, there's usually a digital agency or systems integrator that's there right behind the team that's just as passionate about the product and the launch as the client they're supporting. We're very proud to say in the Rackspace digital practice that 9 of the 10 top digital agencies out there choose Rackspace to host the projects for their brands and use our managed cloud for their clients. And Tony and Digitas LBI are definitely part of that 9 out of 10. I'm also proud to say this because this isn't something that we started a few months ago and we're calling it a success. We've been quietly winning in this space and working with folks like Digitas LBI for over 10 years. And if we weren't successful in our approach, and if we didn't partner correctly with these guys, and we asked Tony to come up here and present in front of a bunch of folks, he's going to tell us to go pound sand. And he didn't. He's up here, so we're happy to say that. Also, we would like to note that we would have 10 of 10, but IBM's in-house agency made the list, and we're hoping that one day we can get Big Blue to come around and select Rackspace as their managed cloud provider of choice. So we're going to keep working on that. Beyond this strong partner network of digital agencies and integrators, we've also built out specialization in some select applications that marketers are using today. These are applications for both web content management and also for commerce. So Sitecore and Adobe Experience Manager are going to be on the web content management side, and Oracle, Hybris, and Magento are going to be on the commerce side. And we chose these applications based on a lot of homework that we did with folks like Digitas LBI, but also with the analyst community and talking to the brands directly. The digital practice is a group of individuals, really specialists in these applications. They know them inside and out. We have countless deployments with each one of these applications. And so what our customers benefit from is all the experience that we've gathered and the best practices that we've gathered in building and supporting these solutions over and over and over again. So if you want to learn more about Rackspace Digital and what we're doing, you can always go to our website, rackspace.com/digital. You can also follow me on Twitter to get the latest news and updates and articles that we're putting out there. And then also you can visit our booth upstairs and have a chat with us. So let's go ahead and kick this off. I'd like everyone to give a big round of applause to Tony Bailey from Digitas LBI.
All right, thanks, Kyle. All right, thank you, Kyle, and thank you, John, for inviting me and having me here today. It was fun you put that video up front about the cloud, because it was a couple years ago. I came home from a conference and I had this T-shirt, and I showed my wife some of the stuff I picked up from the show, and on the back it said, "Rackspace open source the cloud." And she looked at it quizzically and was like, "What does that mean?" And I looked at myself and I'm like, I don't know. Because I didn't even know where to start explaining that, so I'm excited here to learn a little bit more about what that means myself. So thank you everybody for having me, and it's great to be here. It's a great room. It's a great setup. It's very comfortable. I've actually got these same pillows at home. I was putting the material together, and I was going through the brief with Larry and the Rackspace team, and they were talking about, today's about complexity, and talking about the challenges we face and how Rackspace manages complexity, and we're gonna talk about some of the tools we use. So I was putting all the material together, and I was trying to find just a cheesy stock photo that represented complexity, and something to really show it, and I really couldn't find anything that hit the mark, but I did find a cheesy stock photo of these guys. And I thought it was kind of fun because it represented that day when we all started the big project. And I'm sure you're all in the throes of one right now, and you probably went through months and months and months of scope negotiation and going through and trying to get the budget and getting everybody lined up and all the moving parts, and it's very stressful, and everybody's asking, when are we gonna start? When are we gonna kick this off? Deadline's coming, and pretty happy that first day. The SOW signed, we're kicking things off. But then, not too long after that, reality starts to set in. And what you realize is you've just signed up for a really huge project. And like every big project, it has very aggressive deadlines. And it probably has some crazy requirements that you're not really sure if you're going to be able to meet in time. So every good project manager immediately starts pulling out. Let's go to stickies and markers. Let's start getting all the user stories written down and figure it out. And along the way, things start getting a little bit more complex. So there are lots of internal challenges you're going to face. It's not uncommon. I'm sure everybody knows that no matter how you put the deadlines in, creative is always going to be late. It always starts to screw up the schedule right out of the gates. Or you may realize that the new package you're about to put, the new CMS you're using, new e-commerce, you're going to be the first ones using that version, and maybe there's a few bugs that that haven't been worked out. QA time, somebody says, you know what, we had to make the numbers, so we just kind of took QA out of the process. I hope you guys are going to be okay with that. New requirements always come in. Design reviews went way too long and burnt all the budget, and then you find out some hot startup just hired your architect and lead developer. So many of you may have had all these things happen just this week alone. And those are just the internal things that you've got to deal with. You've got all the external factors that come into the project as well too. So what do you do when you start going through and you're moving through development, you're moving through your sprints, and somebody realizes that no one ordered production hardware? Or someone tells you after the site is live, we're going to put about 500 grand of media support behind this tomorrow, all to that URL. Are you guys going to be ready for that? Another one of my favorites is hearing that there's a hot offer for the product, and there's the 10 million people on the email list are all just got an offer sent out to them, and traffic is starting to quickly come into the site. Every year we always find out, oops, we're going to actually put a 30 in the Super Bowl next week, and the end card is going to point to the site. And then finally, we all know this, but we're never prepared for it, even though it's the same day every year, Black Friday's coming. So these are all the things that are on the outside that are driving a lot of traffic, causing lots of spikes that we've got to deal with. And this is where, as an agency, this is where we turn to Rackspace, and we really lean on them as a partner to help us through this. And for a couple of good reasons. One is that this is a team that really understands chaos. Kyle's digital team is fantastic. They understand the package we use, they understand the deadlines we're up against, they understand that many of these things come in with almost no advance notice, and we need help getting through it right away. And for me, it's great because Rackspace helps keep me from having awkward conversations about downtime with my clients. Especially when, believe it or not, we get DDoSed. And there are times when it's not like anonymous style hacks coming in because we're a bank, but there are times when we get floods of traffic for no apparent reason. And within seconds of it happening, Rackspace is calling us, letting us know what's happening, how they're mitigating it, what the countermeasures are, and how they're going to make sure the sites do not go down. And because of all this, we're looking at a 10-year relationship we've had with Rackspace, and one that we're going to continue going for many years more. So that's some background on some of the just some of the things that we face. We're going to go through and talk about, just to make this all real, talk through a couple quick client stories about what we're doing and the clients we work with and how they bring some of the complexity to us. First off is Dunkin' Donuts. And this is a little bit of an interesting story because it's not actually one where we have any public facing or any work out there. So this is a data only setup for us. So we are making full use of the Hadoop optimized clusters that Rackspace provides as a way to do a lot of data analysis. There's a ton of secure data on this. It's all PII data. It gets audited on a regular basis. So we lean on Rackspace and security experts to make sure that what we're doing there is not going to get found. It's not going to get exposed. But at the same time, it's in a very scalable environment that the data is growing linearly every month. We need to be able to handle that. It's on the private cloud offering. But at the same time, we're doing quite a bit of data crunching on a regular basis, maybe a couple times a day, maybe a couple times a week. So we need to be able to burst, and we've got to be able to scale quickly to be able to do that. And what kind of data is that? So at the first part, we're getting a lot of inputs. There's a ton coming in, not only from the loyalty program itself, point of sale data, first-party data from the sites around site click-throughs, around site analytics, as well as third-party partner data that we're bringing in. And then we're going to start going through and we're going to put a bunch of triggers and segments against that. We're obviously going to look at areas of the country that they're as far as what people like and what taste preferences are. Time and temperature is a big part of it, time of year, making sure that in the middle of December, we're not going to send an iced latte offer to somebody in Minnesota. So we start to pull all this together. A ton of this data comes in, all these different segments we want to look at. We turn to Crazy Science Guy and all of his formulas, and he helps us go through and figure out how we are going to then put out very discrete, targeted offers out to customers in the way they want to receive it. Whether it's a text message, it's an in-app push, or it's an email, we take all this, we get it out to customers, and then, of course, we want to be able to take a look at that, and we want to know whether or not it's successful or not. Did it hit the mark? What's the redemption on that? We take all the data, we pull it back in. So there's a lot of crunching that happens on a regular basis, new data coming in, and Rackspace really helps keep that moving. Next client is Sprint. We're digital agency of record for Sprint. So for everything basically that's not transactional, that's e-commerce, we're handling all the creative, all the development, the media, and the hosting around all of it. And if any of you follow wireless or follow the category, you'll know it is a hyper-competitive category. And there's a lot of competition between the big four carriers. So very promotionally driven. There's sports sponsorships with NASCAR and with NBA and Kevin Durant. So there's a lot of traffic coming in from that way from an event standpoint. So for that reason, it's a very classic cloud case. It's a very dynamic environment. We're spinning up, we're spinning down, we're managing a lot of different servers, and we're dealing with a lot of traffic spikes that are coming into the environment. So we're making full usage of Rack Connect. This is the premier product, all the auto scaling. So it's, for us, we try to make this as much of a hands-off as possible, especially around areas where we can really predict and we understand where there is going to be spikes. So what I mean by predictable is that whether it's CES last year when we had some major product announcements, the Family Plan where we were doing a lot of very specific targeting on Facebook and going to people that are receptive to the offer, spots in the Oscars or 30 in the Super Bowl, we know about this traffic coming in. So it's a lot we can predict, and Rackspace is there with us, but there's a lot that's very unpredictable. This is the promotion that we did about a year ago called Sprint Cinema, where we had 18,000 screens across the country, where during the PSA that asked you to turn your phones off, there was a simple question that asked, like, what does your phone dream about, if you will, when it's turned off while it's sleeping? So you could text dream to the short code, and afterwards we would, after you accepted permissions for Facebook, we would create a custom movie. There's a CGI movie that was generated that would take all of your Facebook content that happened and all the news updates from your news feed and bring it into a really short video. And then we would send that to you, send the link, and you could watch that. So we're creating the video, we're streaming it, we're hosting all that, hundreds of thousands of movies, and we don't know when the data's coming in. We don't know when the traffic is coming in. It was mainly on weekends when there was a big movie going, but it could have been middle of the night, it could have been early in the morning. So it was wildly unpredictable, but with the way we were set up, we had no problem. We can handle some extreme crunches, and we were able to scale for it. There's another, Sprint also does pushes every month. The nearly 60 million subscribers in the network, and everybody that's on an Android phone with Sprint gets the Sprint Zone app pre-installed, and they do push notifications for offers and promotions. And if there's a really good offer that comes out, say they're going to give out a free Galaxy Tab 4, as soon as that notification goes out and people start clicking through on the offer to one of our sites, we usually hear about it from Rackspace before we even see it on our own phones, because they're letting us know that we've got a flood of traffic coming in and making sure that we're ready to handle it. I'm going to burn through Goodyear tires real quick, because this is just your classic big iron story as far as using Rackspace and leveraging them for dev, test, and production, using Hyber's PCM and the CMS cockpits, Oracle on the back end. Oracle's also a big part of our advanced analytics, where we're bringing in not only all the site data, but we're also doing a lot of analysis from a media standpoint, analyzing their media and their usage as well as all their competitors, as well as everything you'd expect from a high-end, very complex environment. The thing that's great about it is because of the complexity of this is one where we're in daily contact with Rackspace, with the support team, talking about monitoring, talking about the site performance, talking about what we're doing. It's just not something that you get if you were in a DIY hosting environment. All the way down to monthly reviews with the account team. So Tom Thaddeus and his team do a great job. We're working with them on a monthly basis to sit down and talk about the business, talk about the KPIs, and get ideas about what we can be doing and how Rackspace can continue to support us. Another big brand where DAOR is for Miller Lite. So here's the Heritage can that came in market 2 years ago. It's been wildly successful in getting people back to drinking Miller Lite. And earlier this year, we ran a promotion. This is one of those cases where you don't really know what's coming at you, and someone creative comes up with a great idea and wants to get in market fast, and there's not a lot of time to plan it. So this is Miller Time for America. And the basic idea behind this was that responsible beer drinkers of Miller Lite, age 21 and older, could take a picture of themselves, hashtag it, it's Miller Lite, and post that for a chance to win $1,000. So 10 people won $1,000. Some people got the chance to be in a TV spot, and we just had no idea how successful the campaign was going to be. Which, if you think back a couple years ago, this would have been something that would have been crazy to even consider, to put something out in a short amount of time and not know what kind of traffic you're going to get. Many years ago, probably what you would have been doing is you would have been sitting down with that one dude somewhere that had a magic spreadsheet where he wanted to know page views a second and hits and how many images, and kind of crank that through, and that spreadsheet would turn out how many HP DL380s you had to buy and how many instances of Apache, and you'd look at that and you kind of scratch your head and dial it up a bit and you'd hope for the best. Well, in a case like this, we just don't have that. So we're going to go into it knowing that no matter what happens, we're going to be able to handle the load, even with a ton of media support behind it. TV spots, radio, we had paid social, and we had YouTube homepage takeovers that were going behind this. What wound up happening, hugely successful. Nearly 200,000 people submitted for a chance to win this. And across social, this drove over 260 million impressions, all with the opportunity for people to go back to MillerLiteForAmerica.com and check out the site. Great thing was, with all this traffic and all this coming in, not a blip. Taco Bell is it's a great account we work with as DAOR for them as well too, because they're doing a lot of really fun promotions. And one that some of you may be familiar with that they've been doing for a number of years is called Feed the Beat. And it's a chance for Taco Bell to help promote up and coming bands and and get them into the scene and host special events and special concerts for it. Well, last year at South by, they did a really big one, and they had 2 bands that were part of it. One of them was Passion Pit, and it got a lot of attention because we were going to be live streaming it. And the live stream was kind of fun because you could actually control all the cameras, all the 9 cameras in the venue that you could watch from home. You could see it, you could control it. A lot of people made the show. It was very successful. So coming out of this, Taco Bell wanted to put together a rockumentary and kind of go through and talk about it and show what it did. And this is up on the site, on the feedthebeat.com site that we maintain for them. And it wasn't too big of a deal until we find out one day that we're going to actually have a 30 running in the Video Music Awards for this. And the end card on the spot was going to point back to feedthebeat.com. So knowing how successful this is and knowing how big the VMAs are and the kind of viewership they get, and that every single person probably watching the VMAs will be doing with a tablet or a phone in their hand and going right to the site, we need to be ready for this. So we're the night of the event. The managing director for the office is reaching out to my tech lead saying, hey, you know what, are we good tonight? Are you sure the site is not going to go down? Because this is a pretty big deal. It's like, yeah, we're all set. Puts in a call to Rackspace, talks to a support team. They're like, yep, we're all set. We're going to be able to scale. We're going to handle the traffic. He's at dinner that night, out with his girlfriend. And the text comes in, it's like, are you sure? I mean, this cannot go down. So tells his girlfriend, hang on a second, reaches under the table, pulls out his phone, spins up a couple extra servers on it. We're all good. And we were. Site did great that night. So what do we look at as far as what's consistent across all these sites? So we're using a variety of products here. We're using private cloud, we're using public, we're using hybrid, we're using a lot of different products from Rackspace, but there are a couple things that are consistent I think it's important to call as far as what we leverage. First is from an operations standpoint. The ops team is amazing. The monitoring they do, we're using a lot of different monitoring tools like Alert Logic and New Relic. We're keeping an eye on the sites, and there's somebody there that's looking out for it. And I think the biggest thing for us that we love is the proactive communication. That there is somebody on the phone with us letting us know what's going on, talking through the solutions, not just saying, hey dude, you know, the site's not looking too good right now. It's usually they're in front of it and they're on it. So between that communication, all the patching, the health checks, to me that's FTE savings, because those are people I don't have to have on my team that are sitting there. And it's also I don't have to have an architect or an engineer distracted looking at a monitoring system every couple minutes just to make sure we're doing okay. DevOps for the full stack that we're running for like Goodyear, where we were doing dev tests and prod in the environment, using Jenkins, doing continuous integration, Chef and Puppet. So we're making full use of all the tools that are provided. And it's those expert advisors that you just don't get with another provider, that whether it's the security team, whether it's the DBAs, people in the NOC, we've got the right people there. And most importantly, we've got the account management. We've got people that really understand the business. They understand what our clients are doing. They understand what their goals are. So they're with us every step of the way and helping us out. And that's a big part of what we do through Rackspace. So thank you for attending. I hope this is insightful. Hope you learned something, and enjoy the rest of the show.